Mask
I don't
up.
know. Now, I don't know if I set the bar too high, but I saw you at Jody Hamilton's hugging party on Saturday, and we pre-worked out some material, which we never do. We don't usually rehearse for your appearances.
No. And, we weren't even trying to. We were just being so naturally funny at a party.
Yes.
That you said we could do this on air.
I was happy as a lipstick lesbian because I was with my friend Rob, and I was mistaken for his wife and a mom.
And I was insulted for you.
Because 2 parties in a row, people thought Rob was my husband.
When you think someone's a mom and they don't have a child anywhere near them, or any kind of like...
You said, I thought you just looked tired.
Yeah. That's like saying, you look horrible and like you haven't slept in a long time and are under a lot of financial stress. That's what you look like.
You look exhausted. Are you a mother? Do you have someone that's embarrassed to be seen with you and that's making you go broke? Oh, you must be a mother. Okay. Here's what we were saying, because you were talking about... You famously talked about this in your book, not having kids, and you're happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was saying, at first I just didn't want kids and didn't have an opinion either way.
Yeah.
And then as I get older,
right,
I realized that was a great choice, and I'm very happy to not have to have kids. And I was saying that during the pandemic, nobody really mentioned to me their usual, having a kid is really the best thing you could do with your life. I noticed that didn't get said during the year of homeschooling.
No, exactly. You remember our friend Matt Miller? So we started out with all these creative home parenting ideas, and then like literally a week later, we're like, take this box of crackers and this iPad and go in the basement and don't come back till dinner.
But Stephanie said, you said that, when you spend 5 minutes with a kid and your friend's kid and it's really fun.
Right.
If you get confused by that and think you want a kid, you said it would be like...
It's like a comic with a really good 5 minutes, and then you go on the road with them and you have to hear, like 45 every day. And you're like, that was somebody, that kid had like a good 5, but...
I made a mistake taking them on the road. And now I have to love them unconditionally.
Because they are adorable for maybe 3 to 5 minutes. They're like, you know what they are, Jen? They're like YouTube sensations as versus real comics. You're like, oh, wow, that got so many hits. Let's go on the road. And then they have to do an hour. No, that's what having kids full time is like.
Yeah.
You're like, the rest of your stuff is really kind of mushy. Kind of just concepts, a little weak, not really any punchlines.
I like the part where you blow me kisses. I don't like the part where you poop your pants.
I don't like the part where
I'm talking about the comic.
I don't like, way too long a setup. The setup is like 25 minutes. It's too long for a setup. There's not even a... Okay, so that was... Travis, wasn't that good? It's a kid. Kids are bad comics with a maybe 5. And then you got to go on tour with them for the rest of your life. It's not even like an hour set, a headliner set. It's like a 24/7 set.
And you have to sit on the plane with them.
God, this was not funny like several hours ago.
I know people are laughing in their cars, even though we can't hear the laughter. We feel it.
Yes.
You planned all this ahead of time?
Oh, shut up,
okay,
Travis.
listen,
you know
we didn't
what?
plan it.
Listen, mister.
Stephanie was very, very high. I'm kidding. I just like to say horrible things. Not that that's horrible, but it would be if you weren't high, which you weren't.
No, I was not.
That's your natural state.
I hadn't been out in a while. You could tell I put vegetarian chili in a piece of celery. And I'm like, look at this. I stuffed celery. No one does that. Look what I just made. That's how exciting. Just being out of the house. I was like, look what I've done. I've made a new hors d'oeuvre.
You should not be allowed out free range.
Yeah, it was exciting. I say the same thing every time I hug Jen Kirkman. Kirkman, how fluid are you feeling today? The answer is always not very, but I can always... like a temperature.
It's a
temperature
been to a lot
check.
of lesbian conversion parties, I feel like, lately. Just a lot of parties being invited to, where they're like, look.
Yes, you're talking about on your new podcast, No Fun, No Fun podcast, about lying to a comedy legend, which happened at my house.
I gaslit Lily Tomlin to her face. I didn't mean to.
Oh, Sean, get the theme ready. Uh-huh. Okay.
There's a gaslighting theme?
No, we talked about, this was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm scene at my party.
Well, you live on a street that has, it's small. You can't, two cars can't really pass each other. And I had done a U-turn so I could park. And I saw another car approaching as I was parking. And they were going very slow. And they looked at me. And I looked at them. And we made eye contact. And it was Lily. Now, she doesn't know who I am. Right. I also had a patch on my eye.
Patch on.
Yeah, because I had a black eye.
Which makes you somewhat identifiable. Uh-huh.
And then I parked my car, and then she parked hers, and I didn't want to walk in with her because she doesn't know me.
Right.
I wanted to give her privacy, so I ran into your house. And then once in your house, I didn't have the eye patch on anymore because you all made me take it off. suddenly a bunch of lesbians had fashion tips for me. And Lily comes in and she goes, did I see you outside? And we made eye contact. I went, no. She goes, we looked at each other in the eye. I go, I mean, I saw someone driving, didn't know it was, what? She just stared at me and went,
You lied to me. You lied to a comedy legend. She has a Mark Twain award.
yeah, I made a mistake.
As Paula Poundstone said to her, did Mark Twain give it to you?
That was funny.
We made a lot of old jokes. It was bad.
You know that Lily's
I shouted right in her
listening
ear,
now.
Grandma, I'm going to turn the music down now, okay?
Well, here's in my defense. If Lily pulled up, I wasn't going to go knock on her window and go, hey, Lily, I know you're at the party because you're Lily Tomlin and I'm a big fan. And Steph texted me and told me you were coming. So if you want me to wait outside the car and walk you in, like, I just wanted to give her space. It's not like she needed help.
So you thought it would make it better to lie to her face?
Yeah. I don't know why I couldn't have just said what I just said to you to her, but I just didn't want to.
I feel like I immediately have to invite you back to another party she's coming to so then we can play the Veep theme because I just feel like you'll do something to follow up.
I'll just make eye contact with her the whole time to let her know.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right. Okay. What else is in the No Fun podcast? You talk about hiking in LA. I hike every day. I won't hit on you. Do you want to hike?
Oh, no, I wasn't saying people hit on me. I was just saying if there's any murderers out there, they best not come for me because I hike with a air horn and a flashlight. Yeah, mainly for coyotes, but I think it could work on murderers. But I was saying that,
So it's like same stuff you have for a hockey game. You just bring hiking.
I don't know what a hockey game is.
Okay. It's a game that they play. I think aren't there air horns in sports?
You're asking the gay this?
I don't know. Sean?
Don't you have one in your sound effects box?
I don't. You
I can
do.
make one.
Not in my box.
I actually have it with me if you want me to.
Oh, really?
To make the noise. I'll bring it out after the commercial.
I feel like it's a little startling. People might
It might
drive
be.
off the road.
Yeah, the dogs might.
Okay.
Penalty box.
It's the air raid siren. That's what we call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason I was talking about hiking, I was talking about people all over the neighborhood that said drive like your kids live here.
Oh, yes.
Well, what if you don't have kids? I just commit vehicular manslaughter. I don't have kids, so I guess.
Really, I don't care what I hit.
Yeah. So I just think it's insulting to people with and without kids.
There it is. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not really an air horn, but it's close
It's
enough.
more like a nuclear air raid signal, and now I'm afraid that wasn't a sound effect and that we need to get off the air right now. Is to take cover.
No, it's a sound effect.
Okay.
It's a sound effect. What is the cabbage versus lettuce debate on your show? What is that about?
Well, sometimes I use Instacart and I get these teenage shoppers. So I do know what it's like to be a mom because I'm teaching the kids.
Right.
And I ordered iceberg lettuce and they brought me a cabbage instead because they don't know the difference. And when you have your heart set on something, I had all the ingredients for a salad.
Oh, substitutions. Right.
Yeah. And I don't even think it was a substitution. I think they just grabbed the wrong thing.
Oh,
And I opened it and I was like, no, I want an iceberg. I mean, it's not the Earth's greatest problem, but
I feel like, because I talked about this a lot, right, Travis? Because I dealt with, I haven't been to the supermarket in like 2 years because now it was a transition period getting used to substitutions. Although I feel like it has better prepared me for post-COVID dating life. You'll be like, I wanted, this is fine.
This
is
not
not what I want.
the
I
picture
ordered.
that I saw, but okay.
Okay.
Well, it's funny because I worked in a grocery store in 1988, not to brag. Before there were ATM cards, people, I was making change in my
Whatever,
head.
Miss Paper or Plastic. Go ahead. Name dropper.
Did people write checks for you?
People would write checks, and I'd gladly accept them because I didn't know any different. But my point is, I mistook a cabbage for an iceberg, and a woman schooled me, and I feel like I'm just passing it down. I got shamed in person, and these days we don't even. This kid didn't even get to learn because he just dropped it off, and so I took to Facebook and said,
"All right, I've gotten all controlling now. Like I know in advance. I choose the only substitute this or don't substitute because at first it would be like I ordered an orange and you sent a hammer. It's not even close to. Did they ever do that? I'm like, this isn't even anything close to what I
ordered lamb chops one time and they sent pork chops.
Well, that's at least in the genre.
And
I'm saying I got totally different objects.
It's still a dead animal. Yeah, vegetarian.
Yeah.
Looking down on you.
See, this is probably why I'm single, because then I'm like, first I was like, okay, fine, I'll be flexible, accept that substitution. Now I'm like, no, only this, or don't substitute at all.
Well, the mint sauce I made did not go with pork chops, let me tell you.
But anyway,
right.
I don't mean to complain. I'm very lucky, and I always tip well and all that.
Okay, also, I just want to know what about Gen X never drank water, coffee's really good for your health, and your psychiatrist is retiring. Can you just summarize those?
Well, I was just saying that, I carry around a 64-ounce bottle of water to go from room to room, and I have a feeling that maybe I don't need to be so hyper-focused on hydration, that maybe like the water bottle industry is screwed with our heads. And I read an article that said drinking coffee is really good for you, even 4 cups a day, caffeine
Really?
or decaf.
Oh.
And my psychiatrist is retiring, and on a Yelp review, looking for a new one, the review that this man wrote about this doctor was, Dr. Judith is really great, and she's not a Nazi. And that intrigued me, and
Right.
she's going to be the first one I call.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And that seems like a low bar, not a Nazi, but maybe.
It's a low bar, but
Yeah.
ultimately I think it's an important thing that we
Maybe-
do know these days.
Did she know? Did she do something that was maybe Nazi-ish? And this is just no, she's not a Nazi.
Right. To ignore the swastika on her arm, that is a symbol of,
Right.
people. The
Yeah.
other thing I did start to worry about is it might mean she's anti-vax, because sometimes, so I might not actually go to her.
Okay.
But I was intrigued, I must say.
Okay, well, I would
Yeah.
be too. Yeah,
I would say
that's-
there's a 1-star review for her that you need to look for that might explain the Nazi comment.
Yeah. Can I? Can I tell you? Did I? I've ever told you the best psychiatrist story ever, told to us by Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
Oh, no.
Yes, she got her recommendation for a therapist from her best friend Pee Wee Herman.
Oh,
Yes, and so she was in therapy, and she was telling a very, personal, like vulnerable story, and the therapist was giggling, and she's like, Why are you? Is there something?" And then Pee Wee popped out from behind the couch and went, "Ah!" And I was like,
Are you serious?
Okay, that's unethical on a lot of levels, but she thought it would be funny to let Pee Wee listen. He was behind the therapist's couch, and
That's exactly
Yeah.
what I would expect to happen, and I'm
right. If
blown
you take
away
it,
that it did.
right. I always said like people that call Dr. Laura for therapy deserve therapy from Dr. Laura. So I'm just saying, Elvira, if you take therapy advice from Pee Wee Herman, that
I'm
going
going
to
to need this therapist number. I'm also intrigued.
will Pee Wee Herman pop
couldn't
out
love
behind the couch? Is he just always there waiting to pop out during a
I couldn't
therapy
love that
session?
story anymore. She just okay. I don't even know what levels of unethical that is, but okay. Let's move on. You also said we're seeing. I feel like everyone in LA is wearing more masks now than before the vaccine. We were saying that.
Yeah.
That I like when I've just walked down here to and so then I put mine on because I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I go in somewhere, I definitely wear a mask. But outside, I thought it's okay. But now
It's
that's-
weird. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
When
right?
I go inside, I put it on in solidarity.
Yeah.
But yesterday I went outside. There was like a coffee shop that you walk by. There was a window shut.
Right.
And they said put a mask on outside. And I wasn't like, I did it, of course. But
Right.
everyone there was kind of like, this is weird. Like, it seems more now. And then you don't want to wear a mask because you feel like you look like an anti-vaxxer.
Yes, so you're afraid you look like a Republican.
But
You're
then
like,
people with
or a
immune
anti-
compromised issues were mad at me on Twitter because they
Right.
were like, what about us? And I was like, what? Yes, but I wasn't really.
You know what the only
about
answer is go to StephanieMiller.com. The Steph store has Vaccinated AF, Stephanie Miller Show. It has Vaxxed and Wax, Stephanie Miller Show. It has all of your Funky Cold Moderna. I've got the Pfizer, J&J,
Oh, yeah.
one and done.
I'm going to get This Girl's on Pfizer.
There you go.
Yeah, because I love that. And I want people to know if
Yes,
I'm maskless,
exactly.
I'm vaxxed.
It's the only answer,
Yeah.
StephanieMiller.com.
Or if I'm masked, I'm still vaxxed. I'm not a.
There you
Yeah.
exactly. Okay,
you
21 minutes after the hour. Yay! Jen Kirkman in studio. What's not great about that?